Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. So, yesterday, my morning routine is I prepare orders for the day to get shipped out for my website and company, community rather, White Rabbit Psychedelics. And I like to listen to different podcasts or music or lectures or audiobooks, as I'm either making capsules or filling orders, whatever the case may be. So I had some capsules to make, and I started listening to this podcast by, let me get the channel name correctly, Hardly Initiated. Uh, they have 214,000 subscribers, and it was this video with Pastor Tim Ross debating Princella the Queenmaker. And what we're going to react to in this video is going to be Princella the Queenmaker. And the reason that I'm going to react to it is because I've heard Princella a lot of times on the internet, and I can't say that I agree with her perspective or what she was talking about. Really, I never did. However, in this podcast that I was listening to, where I was making capsules, she made some very interesting points, and so I want to watch this video, talk about it. It's some things that we could learn from and teach from. I really want to talk to the men because the things that she say about men in this segment that I'm gonna react to, it's a 3-hour debate. So if you want to watch the full debate, the link is in the description. However, this segment that I'm gonna react to is really for the men because men have a hard time with listening to women. Like like usually when your girl start talking to you, you will start listening and then you will tune her out. Probably learned it from our mom or something like that. With that being said, um, we're gonna react. And before we react, I just want to let y'all know, uh, today, tomorrow, and the 26th, you get 25% off your orders, free shipping. Right? You want to take advantage of this sale at White Rabbit Psychedelics because starting the 27th, there's going to be a set shipping fee and you won't be able to get 25% off your order. So all you got to do, place your order, use the coupon code Santa, and the website is whiterabbitpsych.com. Go ahead, place your order. Know you got Christmas money, things of that nature. Y'all still do that. Get Christmas money, stuff like that. So what we're gonna do is react, and I'm gonna play some, pause some, talk about it, react, this, that, and the third. So this section, the pastor Tim Cook is going to ask Princella a question, and so what we're gonna do is listening to this question. We're gonna keep the question in mind as she answers it, because what happens is these two dudes that's here, hardly initiated, they don't have the mental capacity to understand and understand what Princella is saying. So they're not listening. So what I'm going to do is teach people how to listen and understand, right? And please keep in mind I'm not a Princella fan, not in the least bit. But what she says in this segment, in this debate, is pure facts, and men need to listen and understand what she is saying without dismissing her because of her tone, demeanor, what she been through, how you feel about her, things that have nothing to do with what she's saying and the information that's being laid out. So let's take a minute to let Pastor Tim Cook frame the question, and then Princella is going to answer this question, and we are going to, you know, I'm gonna bring in my screen and show y'all what she's talking about, right? Because you're gonna have to have a visual understanding of what she's saying. You got to be real slow with it because you might not hear what she's saying. And the purpose of this conversation is so men and women can learn how to be better motherfuckers, right? We can't imagine that we're at the top level of life without the true essence of understanding. So let's just dive into it. Let's react. Like the video, share, subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. Give me a thumbs down if I sound crazy.
I want Tim to talk here. So Tim, what's your thoughts?
So what I would like to know, because we could go circles around this, and I'm down to go circles because I'm Eastern philosophical thinker, so we can spiral down. But what I would love to hear from you is the ideal state. I think that would be a more fascinating landscape to kind of draw out for people, because we can talk about the differences between, you know, what you're saying and how we thinking, but what does it ideally look like for you? What does the ideal woman look like for you, and the ideal man, if there's even one within that construct? And then what does the family look like if both of those ideals from your teachings and your philosophy are actually manifested and realized?
All right. So
is that a good?
So the pastor then asked her, Pastor Tim Cook asked her, what is the ideal man and woman? And when she answered this question, I felt that this answer is long and it's drawn out, and that's okay, right? Because at the same time, it is profound. If you're able to listen with an open mind, open heart, and listen to understand, not to respond or catch feelings towards particular words and things of that nature. So let's get into it.
Good. Is that a bad question?
No, it's great. Okay. So let's take it. All of my points of view always come from a scientific point of view. So we all can understand that oil and water don't mix, right?
Correct.
So no matter how much you put oil and water and stir, it ain't never gonna mix. Okay. The differences between male and female is oil and water. Okay. And so
at this point, men are going to tune this out, right? Men are going to tune this out, right? Because we are being fed relationships since we were born, right? Through media, music, entertainment, things of that nature. We are being fed this. So, and then we go to school, where if you didn't go to a specific boys school, girls school, then you had to kind of like learn in an unstable environment, right? Simple example, young kids going through adolescence, not really focusing on the schooling, but focusing on the relationships. So if we struggled in school, or we struggle in interrelationship dynamics, it was usually based upon two people being jealous of each other's differences, but not even understanding themselves, because we are born in a community, in a culture that is simply trying to make men and women the same, as opposed to dealing with the differences and the strengths and weaknesses of each gender. So when she says oil and water don't mix, that also breaks down to the chromosome. A woman is different. She has an XX chromosome, and a man has an XY chromosome. These are basic fundamental facts as to why we have a boys' restroom and a women's restroom, right? So He's cooking.
The moment that you try to put them together in this, you're going to create issues that will never end. Okay. So what Tyshawn was saying, this is why it is ever important to understand root cause analysis in order to get to a place where you can fix a problem. We can talk about the effect all day. We can analyze people's behavior as the effect all day. That ain't gonna do nothing, because the issue comes in the biological and neurological differences between male and female, period. Then you have the next issue, which is a philosophical issue, right? When you are dealing with people who, two, are running on a faulty program, number one, running on a faulty program, but number one, the main thing is this: when you take women and you induct them into an environment that is not conducive to their nature. Okay.
So don't forget the question too, by the way.
No, I am.
So that's the part that really got me, where she's answering the question succinctly and showing you an ideal woman. But the moment she introduces it, understand this dude, he not conscious of what's happening. Men operate at like a primate level sometimes when you having conversations. Like, you know, dudes act dignified up until they have a different opinion. Then they either want to dismiss that opinion, right? Suppress that opinion, or just like, you know, sometimes it's called cognitive dissonance with a lot of dudes. They cannot receive new information that goes counterintuitive to their training. So, simplifying it, a woman in a modern society is outside of her nature. Thus, it's going to be difficult for her to be ideal, right? If she don't understand her relationship to nature. She's answering it, but the nigga's interrupting her and dismissing everything she just laid out by make sure you answering the question. When somebody says that to you, when you're trying to explain something to them that you know, they're being dismissive. Just key little shit that's happening in this interview in reference to this host that I want to point out too, that I noticed. That like, she's going to touch on some points in this interview that men need to listen to. Period, point blank. So, whether or not men feel like they need to listen to it or want to listen to it, the facts will still remain. So, when you present this to a man, guess what they're going to do? If I said this to a man, he'll start saying, well, you black ass nigga, shut the fuck up. Oh, bitch ass nigga. Right? That's what they're doing right now, but just in a nice way. With make sure you answering the question, okay, Princella?
Okay.
No, but I have to be able to line this out so you understand why things are the way they are, right? Because if you never get the why behind anything, everything you say is just opinion based at that point. And we can do the opinion stuff back and forth. I'm actually about finding solutions to real problems because I see the world's problem ever so clearly. Men and women are different. You ain't never going to make them the same. Okay. So the problem, number one, is women's environments that are conducive to women's nature and how they function have been totally eliminated. And they have been inducted into a male pecking order, a hierarchy that changes the nature of the female psychology, which screws her up, as you can clearly see it in the world. Women are not behaving in the quote unquote ideal way that men think they should behave. There's a reason for that, okay? In order to fix the female and male psychology, there has to be a healthy separation between the two. There has to be two different environments that are conducive for both parties to function properly. So, male pecking orders will never go away. In every kingdom, you see
This part right here, keep in mind, male pecking orders and hierarchy. Because when she laid this shit out, I was like, bro, I gotta react to this video. When you hear how she break down men and hierarchies, you ever been to prison, if you ever played on a football team, if you ever been in the army, you know all about hierarchies. And you know for a fact that this is how men exist and thrive. Women, on the other hand, do not thrive in hierarchies. In reference to good advice, a woman might ignore good advice if she don't like the way you say it. Men tend to take advice from their sergeant or from their coach and say, nigga, you fucking up. All right, coach. Yeah, you right. Right? You tell a girl, hey, you fucking up. Why? What you mean I'm fucking up? Fucking up where? Fucking up how? Nigga, fuck you. It could be the truth. You fucking up. Women don't operate well in hierarchies. So when you begin to point your finger at your girl, telling her what she should or shouldn't do, you can be right. But if she don't like it and she don't want to hear it, she not going to receive it. Right? Men and women are different. So when you start to imagine going to school, watching movies, listening to music, creating a whole ideology to say I'm equal to this person, me and him or me and her are the same, get into a real relationship and crash and burn, right? Because we don't fundamentally understand our strengths and weaknesses based upon who we are as individuals. But so far, she cooking with hot oil and grease.
see that this is how the male functions. How does the male function? The male has to be dominant over other males to be able to instill a level of fear into that male child or male to get him to behave in a certain way. If the male does not have any controls on his behavior, what has happened in society is they have put all of the controls on women. They haven't put any on males. The male has been allowed to freely reign and move and decide if he wants to control himself or not. He shouldn't have the ability to make that decision. He should be controlled.
This is facts. Right? Men do not, like, if you hang out with men, it'll blow your mind, right? Hanging out with a married man and you get into the car with him after you just kissed his wife, kissed his babies. Hey, we about to go to the store, huh? Hey, Kyrie, you rolling with me? Hell yeah, I roll with you. We about to go get some beer. We'll be right back, baby. Get into the passenger seat with that nigga. First thing he say, man, where the hoes at? You like, what the fuck? I thought you was married. Right? What am I talking about? Hey, like when you talk to men on these panels and on the internet, that's the crazy part about having an intelligent conversation with a man. It's hard to have an intelligent conversation with a man when he 100% dick first, ask questions later. How am I supposed to have a reasonable, rational conversation with you and you slicing everything that come across your motherfucking path? The nature of men is that shit. If they could get the pussy, they would get it. And if he not getting the pussy, it's because he can't get it. That's the nature of a man. Like control, what are you talking about? You can put it all on the men because when you talk about the collapse of the civilization, it's gonna call when it comes to war or when it comes to standing, protecting, and providing and doing the things necessary for civilization to stand or whatever the fuck this thing is going to do. Men created it, they have to maintain it and sustain it. At this particular point, men don't know anything about the engineering science at a mass level. When you hanging out, when you dealing with the population, niggas want to be influencers, actors, athletes, rappers, putting out mixtapes, starving artists, DoorDash drivers, Amazon workers. When you go to the universities, there are black women at the universities. There are other races of men and women at the universities. If it's 100 people at the university, 2 of those people at the university are black men. Very small. The smallest percentage of people at that university is going to be black men. And we could go statistic on top of statistics on how black boys are behind. And then niggas will get on the internet and be like, well, if she ain't giving me pussy every day, I can't be with her. So, this is not a pander. This is not like wagging my finger at dudes. But it's going to be an explanation and a reason why men are the way that they are and how men can improve in this particular space that nobody is specifically talking about. If men actually want to improve outside of being in a hierarchical system or just focusing on dick, money, property, businesses, and things of that nature. Once you've mastered those realms, what's next? And that's what we're going to be talking about.
So men need to be in environments that allow them to function how they were designed to function, which is to be in a pecking order, controlling and governing other males. The messed up philosophy for the male is he believes that his nature is to control women. So society has given every male a woman and say you control her as opposed to controlling yourself and other men. So now you got a bunch of men running crazy, not controlling themselves, looking for women to control. That ain't how that's supposed to go. Men are supposed to control men, and women are supposed to be functioning in a collective environment where they help each other with the children, help each other teach, and all of that. And the education.
Part of my interruption. Wouldn't I'm just curious. I see everything in pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So minus children though,
Mm-hmm.
how are women? If men are supposed to control other men, and
Mm-hmm.
that's going to kind of, I guess, self-regulate them because
Mm-hmm.
this is the way they're wired. What is the manifestation for the woman aside from the men and aside from babies?
In terms of what? Because you're asking specifically for a question, because at the end of the day, the feminine, the woman's brain
Mhm.
has the ability to communicate between both hemispheres,
Mhm.
create plans.
Mhm.
She has the ability to communicate at a high level,
Mhm.
right? It's all a creative leadership energy.
Okay.
So when you talk about women, they should be free, right?
Okay.
To create, right?
Okay.
They should be free to create. And what happens is this, which is the head, and this, which is the doer, this submits to this and takes instruction to be able to lead his life in the right direction. The male doesn't tend to have any direction on his own. He needs somebody to give him direction. So typically that initially starts with a male governing him.
Mhm.
Once he begins to learn how to self-govern and self-regulate and have a direction, he can then team up with a woman whom he has respect for, who he does not think is he's supposed to control, and then they can work together as partners. But until that happens, women do not need to lower the bar to give males access with the intent of trying to save him from himself. If he can't save himself, she don't need to be trying to help him. That's his job, because the nature of the male is survival of the fittest, and he either sinks or he swims. That's just the male's life. The male don't want women to not think that she ain't supposed to save him, because if she stops thinking that, the woman ain't gonna get his dude no access. She's not going to see, he's got potential, creating all these delusions in her head that he is never gonna live up to.
Okay.
So did you get
I'm
the original?
super
Did we get the
confused.
original question answered?
So she's answering the question so clear that a man who is not spiritual, if it does not matter to a man, if he can't see it, if he can't factor it in, if it's not logical, it's almost like it's supernatural or imagination or not real. Right? But what she's saying is, when I was a boy who didn't have any instruction, any guidance, everything I touched, every woman I got into a relationship with, I didn't leave that relationship making that woman better. I didn't have anything to offer her, because I only wanted to clap those cheeks. I mean, what else was there to do? My biology was saying clap the cheeks, and if I followed my biology and she let me clap her cheeks, then I guess that was a successful thing. So to the different level of it, like it's the clean cut cheek clapper, right? The dude that shaves every day and gets his hair cut and does a podcast and wears a black sweatsuit and you know, props his laptop in front of him and reads the super chats and things of that nature. He's just a more sophisticated cheek clapper. What does women represent to a man? Women represent access to spirituality. This is why when you get a woman, right, and you want to have sex with her, the nature of sex is spiritual. But since men have no spiritual foundation for real, what is a man's spiritual foundation? Clapping those cheeks. So until a man can find value in himself, then find value in you, what is the value that you're going to get from a man clapping your cheeks on a consistent basis? I say this all of the time. A boyfriend is nothing but a prostitute having sex with clients that give her no money. That's all a boyfriend is. He's going to use you sexually, and once the relationship is over, you get nothing in return. You can't take him to court. You can't do shit. Just wasted time. Right? And it's because of the men having nothing to value, nothing of value to offer, because a man with value is something to offer, he can offer it to any woman. So, like, I'm gonna be honest, because this is just the reality. You know, sometimes women can be kind of goofy out here in these streets. real aloof and, just kind of, whimsical and shit. And, oh, he thinks I'm nice. He thinks I'm cute. He's cool. I like him. Lo and behold, he clapping those cheeks. Because that's all he had to offer. That's all he had within himself. That same man who has the purpose of his soul through going beyond the thoughts, emotions, and normal everyday man feelings that he feel and say, you know what? I'm going to bypass this shit, go within myself, find the truth of who I am. My purpose is to follow God. Okay, cool. Right? I'm going to follow God. You know what? A woman is going to see you following God. And she going to want a piece of that. Now you have to offer her your direction and leadership because you are following your soul. And you use science as a mold, as a model. The universe, the sun is traveling through the universe, creating an elliptical orbit in its trail. Because it's moving so fast for its purpose, it's creating life behind it. So your wife, your children, your house, your legacy is a result of a man following his purpose, not clapping cheeks. So the reason why it don't make sense to a sophisticated cheek clapper is because he thought he figured out life when he was in front of his laptop getting access to various cheeks.
Because I think the original question was to get the ideal man and the ideal woman. I don't think we ever answered that question.
How does this look? She cooking. She cooking. I'm tracking.
Okay.
I'm very confused. So I got a question. So you saying in this society, men are just to themselves. They only operate with men, and women are only operating with women.
Okay.
That's the ideal situation.
Is that?
Oh, wait, let's
translate it for him.
So and correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
This is and she's still laying this out. But to the best of what I just heard, and please correct me if I'm wrong, where we are right now is that if the men are with other men will there will automatically be this pecking order that takes place naturally because of the way men are wired. Men need leadership and they need a purpose given to them that should be coming from another man, not a woman. And once that man has that direction, that North Star that should be given to him by another man, then he is qualified to partner and match up with.
And marriage, is that marriage when you say partner?
No. Here's the thing. First and foremost.
What you mean by that? Like, hold on. Like, so you mean to say that I should not be clapping cheeks until I find my purpose from my soul? Yeah, that's exactly what this world would be a much better place. We would be having more engineers, more fucking physicists, more botanists, more mycologists, more scientists. If niggas stop worried about clapping cheeks so much. Exactly. Yes, that's exactly what she fucking means. Until you get your purpose in life, listen, we like to talk about how in the olden days, it was a lot of young wives, but it wasn't a lot of young husbands. A nigga had to make something of himself to be able to even get a husband. Even the idea of sex or fucking, like to fuck, means fornication under the consent of the king. Meaning that you had to get some type of access to the fucking royal authority to even get some goddamn pussy. So society or the makers or the powers that were know exactly, yeah, just let these niggas just go crazy out here. And yeah, the girls, they goofy, they fall in love easy, they'll just let it ride. And we got a whole system and a whole society of men that just is dick first. And then when you try to lay it out to them, the cognitive dissonance on the fact that they gotta relinquish the desire to clap cheeks and actually have a fundamental understanding of a woman is too much for a man to even fucking process, yo. These niggas cannot compute what is being said.
Let's get this straight up. Ain't no marriage in nature. Marriage is a creation of the human. So we have to always start with nature so we can figure out where we went wrong, because nature got all the answers. Humans are the ones who came in here and jacked this up.
Okay. But
Yeah.
so I want you to hold on. Just hold on.
Yeah.
Because I'm clear on. I believe I'm clear on what you feel like the man needs.
Mhm.
What I want to hear is, what is this woman getting? Like from this, if they're separated and this man is getting this, I'm curious about what this woman needs. Because if this man really in your perspective of how these relationships and these men and women should be raised, I want to know how this woman looks.
Okay. All right. So let's.
Yeah.
That's a hard question to answer, because if you work out and take care of yourself, all you got to do is have a McDonald's job. What do women have to do? Be the best version of themselves. Take care of themselves. Take care of their body. Take care of their mind. Be in nature. Understand plant. Understand trees. Understand rivers. Understand the ocean. Understand sand. Understand dirt. Understand animals. Understand the world around them. That's all a woman needs to do. Difficult to do when you are oppressed by a fucking society. Listen, what Malcolm X say? We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. Now a motherfucker gotta, get a serious ass job. Motherfucker, like, I'm a project manager. I'm a CEO. I'm a boss. I'm making big money. That's outside of your nature. That's a system. That's a man-made system that makes women feel inferior. It makes men feel inferior too. Shit. If you just put me on the racetrack and everybody got fucking race cars and I'm on foot, I'm gonna feel like, goddamn, that ain't right. But put black men and women in nature. Teach them about the world. Teach them about the earth, the grass. You see a whole different race of people come out of that. But what we got is black people in society in these particular constructs trying to make sense out of it. So when the pastor asked her, yeah, men in the society got to do this and got to do this, what do the women got to do? The reality of this is that the women don't got to do a damn thing. You would be mad at your girl. You would ask your girl to do all types of shit. She'd be like, yeah, baby, I'll do it. That bitch ain't did shit yet. She's still your girl. She don't got to do nothing. She don't got to do nothing. Right? Listen, why she don't got to do nothing? Hey, if you got somebody halfway decent, she more or less like, hey, you don't fuck with me, somebody else gonna fuck with me. If she look halfway decent, right? In the back of your mind, you dealing with a girl that look halfway decent, where you go into the movies and everybody kind of like, oh, she look all right, I'll fuck her. She know that. You know that. Everybody know that. Listen, she can break up with you tomorrow and find another nigga tomorrow. Break up with you today, be with somebody tomorrow. As a man, you can't do that. The average man, the 85th percentile of men, they gonna have to start from ground zero. Back to the dating apps, swiping yes on every picture, hoping that somebody will swipe back yes on your ass. Hollering at girls, them giving you evil side eye. You interrupting them gems. Your girl don't got that same energy. So what does a woman have to do? Be herself. Get into nature. Like get into the understanding. That's life. That's life, right? The problem is people confuse society the constructs, apartments, the mortgage, the government, the city, the roads, the jobs with actual life. And that has been a society that been placed on your motherfucking forehead by men. So if men want to be a part of this society, they got to figure out how to live well in the society or understand themselves spiritually. Men got to figure it out. I'm not going to walk into McDonald's and a girl going like, "Ooh, daddy, you sexy." That's not a man's reality. So what does a woman have to do to be ideal? Men, as a man, don't be obsessed with what a woman has to do, because a woman have a whole different chromosomal structure than you. She have an XX chromosome and you have an XY chromosome. So her reality is going to be different from your reality. So if somebody is trying to help your ass, it behooves you as a man to listen to information to see where you are fucking up at. Not then to say, well, I get what you're saying, right? You asking a question and she saying, well, this is what it is, this is what it ain't. Like, I get what you're saying, but what about this side? Well, what about the women? And that's what all of these, you know how many niggas be on podcasts talking about how women ain't shit, and the women who ain't shit ain't listening to them talk about how they ain't shit?
Okay, let's put it like this. Okay. The reason why you're asking what does the woman need is because the male's nature is needy. He needs the woman because the male is not whole. Okay. So I like to do it in terms of sacred geometry. Are y'all familiar with?
This is where she absolutely eats. You gotta listen to what the fuck she's saying. She said men are not whole. And remember what I said earlier, that men respond to hierarchies. If you got a group of men and you like, hey bro, we gonna meet tomorrow at 4:00. Guess what's gonna happen? None of them niggas is going to show up. If you say, bro, if you don't come here at 4:00, I'm gonna beat your motherfucking ass. He gonna be there. You gonna lose your motherfucking job. He gonna be there. If he afraid, he gonna be there, babe. I gotta go. If you just loose and goose with a group of niggas and there's no structure, there's no hierarchy, you might as a organized group of men versus some niggas who just playing video games, drinking Mountain Dew. They want to talk shit at the bar. They gonna get their ass whooped. So what she is about to say is going to be so profound, so mind-opening to help men self-realize and self-actualize that if we don't get it, it's going to be our fault. And we're going to be complaining about women our whole lives until we get this part, what she's saying. And I'm going to rewind it, but I'm going to reiterate. Women are born whole and men are not born whole. And if you a man and you don't understand this shit, you gonna be hating life for no fucking reason when you could be just doing the fucking work to become whole.
Sacred geometry. He needs the woman because the male is not whole. Okay. So I like to do it in terms of sacred geometry. Are y'all familiar with sacred geometry?
No.
Okay. All right. This goes back.
Of course not. These niggas. No. We don't know shit about that.
To the patterns of life. Okay. So in all of nature, mathematics is the code of nature, right? And science is basically the image that's rendered from that code, which can be observed. So when you go into sacred geometry, what you're looking at is straight lines and circles. Straight lines represent the masculine. The square is 360 degrees, and that is the masculine counterpart. And then the circle is the feminine, which is also 360 degrees. So everything that's circular represents the feminine. The feminine is the creative space. Here's the issue. The male is not a square. The male is a triangle.
Meaning that a man that exists in the material realm as a successful man, a rich man, a happy man, full of bitches, moet, bubbles in the hot tub, baby mamas, future, captain of the football team, is only half of a human being. Because there's a whole 180-degree sphere that when we start talking about shit in reference to spirituality, none of these niggas want to actually talk about it. Unless they promote in a fucking, an event or, the regular mumbo jumbo shit, the information, but the 180 that we don't know shit about. Our feminine energy, our spirituality, our divination, our relationship to nature, our relationship to the ancestors, things of that nature. You start having a real conversation with a nigga, you realize real soon you need to shut the fuck up and go back to wherever you was at doing whatever the fuck you was doing. So, is it over for men? No. But men as individuals always have work to do on the spiritual side, irregardless of what a woman is doing. It's like if I can bench press 450 pounds and I spend my whole life trying to figure out why a woman can't bench 450 pounds like I can bench 450 pounds. It would take her so much work to get to that level that she might not even want to do it. So when it comes to men and spirituality, it is so personal, it is so subjective, it is so hard. And the purpose of men and the necessity of men and spiritual development is because we are the ones that need to become whole. We are the ones that need to become whole. But no, they twerking, man, they twerking on the handstand. They stripping. My baby mama did this and my baby mama did that. Hey, if you was in your purpose and knew what the fuck you was supposed to be doing out here, you would be in that space. You would be connecting with a divine feminine and she would be treating you good and you would be living your life. And it's a man listening who got his shit together, right? I want to talk to the men that got their shit together and your girl's still not treating you right. And you watching podcasts, you getting consultations from these niggas, you buying different suits, you putting on different colognes, right? And you trying to figure out a woman, nigga, when you need to be figuring out God. Figuring out your soul. She can already bench 450. Your girl know. She done had those dreams, Listen, she can hate you and love you tomorrow. Your job ain't to micromanage and regulate her emotions and figure out how she going to do this and do that and what these women going to do because these women is out of control. All of that shit would change if you knew who the fuck you are. I guarantee you, everybody treats you different when you show up as the best version of yourself.
Which is 180 degrees as opposed to 360 degrees. A triangle is half of that circle and half of that square. Because the male operates hierarchically, his nature is hierarchical, which means it's a triangle.
Period. If you don't got your son in no organized thing, once he get 12, that nigga gotta have shit to do. every day. Because he got work to do for his whole fucking life. Don't coddle your son. Your son is not a great nothing. He got to work for that shit. My son is a king. My son is the greatest. No, he ain't. That nigga, you gonna coddle that nigga. He gonna get into a relationship and he gonna ruin some young woman's life. Because he don't know what it takes to even become a man. Because the thing about manhood, you have to become it. And the thing about becoming a man, you have to understand spiritual development, which will take your 180 degrees into a 360 degrees. This is what all of they doing in the Masonic temples. These degrees and all of this. All of that shit is spiritual. And the spirituality is subjective. And it's a necessary work that you have within yourself. And then yourself will then prove the fact that you are even in communion with it by how you live your life, how things play out for you. You can't say, well, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do as a man and my bitch still giving me her ass to kiss. And for a lot of men, this is what you're experiencing.
He functions at 180 degrees. The woman is born whole. She is born integrating the left and the right hemisphere. The male literally mainly functions from the left hemisphere, which is the computational or quote unquote logical or analytical side of the brain. The feminine side, which is the creative side, is practically shut down in the male. So in order for a male to become a man, that male has to put in enormous amounts of effort to integrate the feminine side to himself to become a whole person. The female is already born whole. So what the female needs is resources, which nature has provided.
Now, this is where she cooks niggas and sets them on fire. And when a nigga is set on fire, all they can do is run and scream. When you cut off from resources, you're going to have to deal with resources. So the resources in this society, in this domain is men, because this domain has been created by men. Colonialism, capitalism, reconstructionism, mercantilism, these are all constructs that if you are successful in building up this matrix, you will be rewarded with resources. A man with resources in this construct is king. However, a woman dependent on a man for his resources is never going to be something that satiates her. That's why Cassie did Diddy like that. That's why all of the divorces is rich nigga shit. Poor people cannot afford divorces, period, point blank. Y'all will just stop fucking with each other if you can't afford a divorce. Y'all be separated or some weird shit like that. If money was the thing that was going to make a man happy, then it wouldn't be no such thing as divorce. Money and resources in this environment is never going to satiate a woman. What's going to satiate a woman is nature and resources that nature provides. If she have a green thumb and she have a garden that she maintains, if she have a farm, if she work with animals, if she have a natural witch practice and she is working with the environment and that environment is yielding her resources, is the only thing that's going to satiate her. Being one with the world, because we are the world. We are the earth. We are what we see. It's just so funny that when we focus on something, we immediately see it.
Nature provided the resources. In order to make a world where men could survive, this is how you get the matrix, because all of these systems were created to extend the life of males, because without it, in a natural environment, the overwhelming majority of males would not make it. They wouldn't be able to compete against other men. So what they did was created a system and hoarded the natural resources, created jobs, and created a fiat currency that they shifted into the power and control of men and kept women largely out of it, artificially forcing women to need and depend on men for resources, creating what you call hypergamy, which is not natural in the female. It is an artificial response to stimuli, which is taking the resources and putting it in the hands of a male. When women are free and independent, they don't need males. And you can see this in nature. You can.
It just makes me think of something that I've heard where if you give a woman who's 80 years old, right, and she has a fortune, right, millions of dollars, and you say, you can go back to being 20 years old, but you'll be broke. The studies say that an 80-year-old woman who is rich would never go back to being a poor, sexy woman. Meaning that we might value men validation more than we value the world that we live in, and that is crazy. Society have programmed us and conditioned us so bad to be dependent on one another without understanding one another, meaning that we are in these relationships and we are not helping one another, and we are creating net negative situations because we do not even understand our strengths and weaknesses as a gender, let alone spiritual development, spiritual awareness. When I talk to women about spirituality, it's much different than when I talk to men about spirituality, because the experiences for men are different. Men do not see or understand spirituality. And if we are to one day understand it, it's going to take a large amount of work to begin to get a glimmer, a speck, or a. This is why, bro, when y'all have spiritual groups, one's in the chat if you was in a spiritual group and it was a majority of women in that spiritual group. Have you ever experienced a spiritual group and it was been a majority of women and a minority of men? The reason why is because men have a hard time with sensing what is, abstract.
You can see it with the fruit fly. If you look at the fruit fly,
Well, hold on, wait. So how does a woman does not need pretty much leadership or mentorship to thrive like a man does? You saying a woman can just be left in her natural state and she will thrive?
well, here's the thing. What the natural state, let me tell you, all arts come from the feminine. All arts come from the feminine. Leadership is an art. You can lead, quote unquote, by force, or you can lead through emotional intelligence. The male does not have emotional intelligence, so his primary.
No. I don't want to talk. No, I get that. I get that. Let's talk, because right now we still have not figured out how women thrive. So that's what we want to. I want to talk about.
The whole lecture, the whole explanation is her referencing how women thrive outside of the jurisdiction of men. And this is going to be the hardest thing that a woman will ever understand. No, you're not submissive to a man. No, you don't need a man's leadership. No, you don't need a man to be happy. In my work, I've seen women have spirit husbands more than not. Meaning that when she get with a real man, it don't even compare to the sex that she had with a spirit husband. Now, if you told me that I could have a spirit wife, I'd be cool with it. Men do not have the imaginative capabilities to perceive and conceive and realize and visualize the spirit world, and women can do it without thinking about it, which puts them on the pedestal. However, this society does not reward psychic abilities, psychic gifts, psychic strengths. So you need to take it upon yourself to figure out how you are going to yield and work your motherfucking magic. Or else it's going to be a nigga telling you that what you talking about ain't real, when the reality is we all create our own realities. As a woman, you could create your own reality. As a man, you going to have to work to create your own reality. That's the difference. And if you can't accept that, then you either afraid of work or afraid to self-actualize and realize and putting yourself under some shit that you was born by your motherfucking self. You going to die by your motherfucking self. These are motherfucking facts. So as much as we listen to people, we need to cut that down and start listening to our soul a little bit more and doing that work.
About that. So what does we get the masculine community needs that.
Right.
The feminine community, they're all by themselves. How are they thriving though? Are they, what type of leadership? How are they being fed?
This is what I'm trying to get to you, because what your questions are based on this artificial system, thinking that women need, but we can all see that this is coming, it's falling. We can all see what's happening financially. We can all see what's happening with AI. We are no longer in Pisces. Okay. So what I'm trying to get you to understand is the whole concept of leadership. The whole concept of leadership comes from the feminine. That's a whole feminine attribute. Through emotional intelligence, through persuasion, through collaboration, and through communication, which are all female attributes. The women would thrive if they were allowed to function at their highest capability. But what is happening, as long as women continue to listen to males tell them what they want and what they value, men always say, we don't care about your education. The moment that you get this money, this amount of things, you disqualify from a man, all of that stuff. This stunts the woman's growth. It stunts her ability to actually produce what she was meant to produce when she continues to seek validation from a man who wants to keep her here.
Princella,
right? Okay, hold on 1 second. Let's get to him.
Okay, so what I need, again, I see everything in pictures, and this thing is, I think it's kind of like,
I wish I could draw a picture for you.
Yeah,
but
no, I see everything in pictures, so I'm good.
Yeah.
Here's what I need from you. Okay. Because if I'm hearing you correctly, the woman is born whole.
Yes, she's born whole.
She's born whole. 360. Okay. She's born whole. Is she born whole? If she is born whole, does she need another woman?
No, let me show you. You see things in pictures. So
yes,
I got one piece of paper. So let me show this to you. I got one.
So this is where the conversation kind of teeters out and dies out, and they go to a different subject. So I was really trying to cover that subject and bring to light this particular dichotomy, and not to coddle women and to boost women up, because from my perspective, women got it fucked up because they don't understand the nature of the divine feminine, and the divine feminine is only validated through a patriarchal successful thing, as opposed to having abundance of knowledge and wisdom and sharing that knowledge and wisdom to the collective, right? having a particular stronghold on information that is raised up from the earth into our conscious, and then sharing that information to the people. That's the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is about gaining spiritual information and sharing that spiritual information to the masses with the intent to provide value to the masses. And the reality is, if you don't know what to provide, you have to go within yourself and do this spiritual work. You're not going to be validated because you made a lot of money spiritually. It's not going to matter in the grand scheme of things. The shadow government, all of these particular things are all illusions and figments of imagination. And the true is that you need to be led and guided by spirit on a moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment basis. And once you figure out what it is that you need to say, you need to share it, and share it, release it, and go back to the drawing board, because there's always work to be done, right? So if there are videos that y'all see that y'all like and y'all want somebody to react to it, make sure you hit me up at the IG at The Hood Mystic, or email me at thehoodmystic@gmail.com. Like I said earlier, Saturday, Sunday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you'll get 25% off your White Rabbit psychedelic orders, as well as no shipping. Starting the 27th, we will have an added shipping fee, and you won't be able to get 25% off your order. So take some of that Christmas money and invest in your mental health, in your psychic awareness, and spiritual healing. Invest in yourself at White Rabbit Psychedelics. Go ahead and read the reviews, hear what people have to say. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always email us. Either me or my wife will respond to you in a timely manner. And with that being said, y'all enjoy these days with y'all family and friends. Make sure you do something healthy and happy. Don't use the holidays as an excuse to be on bullshit, because it really is no excuse to be on bullshit when there is work to be done. I'm the Hood Mystic, also known as Kyrie Anthony. Go ahead and Google me. Go get one of my books, and keep it pimping. And I'll see y'all on the flip side. And let the initiates know we trying to do another video. So I might hop on this bitch a little later with the initiates. You never know. But keep the information going. Keep the information flowing. If it's some more videos you need me to react to, send them